Hello again, everyone. I'm Guido Grinbaum, and I'm going to continue with Module 11. We've already gone through the first 10 modules together, and I hope you're enjoying it. When we talk about microcredentials, most people think of technology, badges, blockchain, or platforms. But the real change isn't technological, it's curricular because microcredentials force us to rethink how we teach, how we assess, and how we certify learning. For more than a century, the university curriculum was conceived as a rigid structure designed for a stable, linear, closed, and homogeneous world. A student would enroll, study for years, and in the end receive a diploma. The problem is that this model no longer fits the real world. Knowledge is updated at a pace that the traditional curriculum can't keep up with. Microcredentials create a new paradigm, a modular, flexible, and open curriculum, where each competency is validated independently. It's no longer about waiting 5 years to get a degree, it's about recognizing every step of learning, every verifiable piece of evidence. The diploma is no longer the only form of recognition, and a network of intermediate achievements emerges that tells the story of learning. Let's imagine the curriculum as a map. Each subject, each project, each professional experience is a piece of that map. Microcredentials allow those pieces to be connected to each other. They create unique, personalized, and transferable pathways. The curriculum stops being a monolithic block and becomes a living system that evolves alongside the student. Designing microcredentials means designing verifiable competencies. Each course is no longer defined solely by its content, but by what the student can demonstrate they know how to do. This requires a profound change in academic thinking, shifting from teaching to evidencing learning. Each microcredential is a minimal unit of truth, a visible, verifiable, and transferable proof of acquired knowledge. The traditional structure of the curriculum was based on subjects and credits. Now we talk about competencies and evidence. A competency can come from a course, from work experience, or from an open course. As long as it is verifiable, it can be integrated into the academic pathway. This opens the door to the recognition of prior learning, something the traditional system never managed to solve well. And here a key concept emerges: interoperability. The use of standards such as Open Badge 3.0 or the European Learning Model allows a microcredential issued by a university in Chile to be understood and validated in Finland, Japan, or Canada. For the first time, learning speaks a common language, and that language is based on data, not on paper. This also changes the way we design degree programs. We no longer talk about closed programs, but about dynamic pathways. We can imagine degree programs made up of modular blocks, where each block is a microcredential that can be accumulated, combined, and may lead to intermediate or final degrees. There are three levels in this curricular transition. First, the addition level, where the university adds microcredentials as complementary experiences without modifying its curriculum. Second, the integration level, where courses begin to issue their own partial credentials. And third, the level of total transformation, where the entire curriculum is organized around stackable competencies. That is where the real institutional leap takes place. In this transformative model, the student is no longer a recipient of content, but a curator of their own path. They choose which credentials they want to obtain, in what order, and towards which professional profile to orient them. Each student builds their own digital portfolio, a learning footprint that accompanies them throughout their life. This portfolio becomes a new kind of academic curriculum vitae, more dynamic, more transparent, more real. It doesn't say, I studied such and such degree. It says, I demonstrated these skills. That is exactly what employers want to see. Evidence, not just diplomas. The impact on the university is profound. Teachers go from being transmitters of knowledge to designers of accessible learning experiences. Each professor becomes a competency architect. They define what evidence demonstrates the skill and under what criteria it is considered achieved. The academic role expands. The teacher no longer just teaches content, they build verifiable value. For administrators, the challenge is to create institutional coherence. It's not about letting each faculty do its own thing. It's about building a cross-cutting policy aligned with quality standards and with formal recognition. Regulations, equivalencies, credit systems. Everything must be updated because micro-credentials are not just an add-on, they are a new academic unit. What are the institutional benefits of this redesign? First, flexibility. We can offer different pathways within the same degree program. Second, international recognition. Micro-credentials speak the global language of education. Third, higher retention. Intermediate achievements are crucial and keep students highly motivated and engaged. Fourth, connection with employers. Each badge can address a skill demanded by the market. And fifth, continuous innovation. We can update modules without overhauling the entire degree program. Throughout Latin America, the challenges are evident. There are still regulatory frameworks that are not very flexible. There is distrust regarding standards and little interoperability between institutions. But there is also an advantage. Latin American universities can skip stages. They can learn from the mistakes of Europe and the United States and directly adopt more modern models without going through long and costly transitions. Implementing a curriculum based on micro-credentials is also an opportunity to democratize access to learning. A student can start with a short course and accumulate several credentials and later on turn them into academic credits. This opens doors for those who couldn't commit to long or expensive degree programs. It's a new form of educational inclusion, fairer and more realistic. The question is not whether universities will adopt micro-credentials, but when and how. The institutions that do so first will be the ones to set the standard. Those who wait too long will end up adapting to the rules set by others. Innovation in education isn't imposed, it's anticipated. Let's imagine for a moment a living curriculum in constant evolution, a system where every emerging skill can quickly be translated into a micro-credential, where programs evolve without bureaucracy, and students can keep learning throughout their lives without having to start from scratch. That is the future of the university. Micro-credentials don't replace degrees, they complement them, making them more dynamic, more visible, and more connected to reality. The final diploma will still exist, but it will be the result of a chain of visible achievements, and that visibility will become the new brand value of each institution. The curriculum of the future is not a document. It's a living conversation between the university, the student, and the world of work. Each credential issued is another line in that dialogue and a point of connection between knowledge and reality. And that is what gives meaning to this movement. We are facing the greatest academic redesign of the 21st century, and the central tool of this change is called the micro-credential. Small in size, enormous in impact. It is not an end, but a new language to express what learning truly is. A continuous, open, and verifiable process. And that process has already begun. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next module.